Hi, quilting friends. Today we're talking about straight line quilting. That's our theme for the month. And up first, I have for you a chat about piano keys and doing straight line quilting work, be it vertical, be it horizontal, be it diagonally on our quilts. And I really love doing this as a firm favorite of mine. And you will see over here I've clustered 3 lines together, leaving a 3/4 of an inch spacing. Quarter, quarter, 3/4 of an inch. And it just creates absolutely beautiful texture. And it always feels like I want to do this. Run with my fingers over. And the tip I have for you on this is that, especially when you are doing piano keys that meet up with a curve, the challenge always is stitching to the curve and then doing your traveling on that set curve line and then going back and trying to get those traveling bits really neat and tidy. And also what happens is it becomes a visible thickness of your stitching line only in certain areas. Now, this short little distance won't be such a big mission to do nice and tidy, but when we come, because we'll be stitching over, travel, down, travel in the ditch, up, and then we need to do this longer section, which means you need to change to a different ruler in order to travel neatly on that curve. And then that becomes visible because it'll only be every second long section that has a double stitch line. So what I find works much better is that your traveling all remains in the ditch and that you'll be stitching over to meet that curved line, meet that feather, meet whatever design your applique happens on this end, meet it, but then stitch right back on that line. Travel in the ditch, stitch up and back on that line. And that way you have continuity of your thicknesses of your stitch lines as well, because all of these lines will be double stitched, but all of your traveling happens just in this ditch, and it will not be as visible as you can see here. And remember, we're up close and personal now, than having little bits of sections of lines being fat on the curved or against applique or embroidery, and not having it consistently run through every section. So I'm going to show you how I do it in the border because I have it there as well. And it's a good example because over here I have piano keys also running down. It might not be as visible because it's a print fabric and I'm using white thread on it. But these piano keys come down and they meet feathers. Let's see if we can just give you a little bit of a view. Where's my zoom focus to stay there? Okay, so it meets up with feathers. So the traveling on the feather would be nearly impossible or take so much time to get nice and neat. Then I prefer traveling in the ditch. So I work with my ruler. I'm just going to do my start point first. I come down and I'm working with my ruler, and in this instance I'm doing 3/4 of an inch spacings, which means I line up the second reference line of my ruler with my stitch line, and I try and keep an eye out for making sure everything is still straight. And now stitching over to the feather but back again, not traveling on the feather edge. And we'll continue doing that. It might be a little bit slow. Working in this direction with the ruler behind the foot is a little bit slower than working from the front, but I want to keep that distancing the same. Travel in the side, move my ruler, and of course I won't be able to do this without a ruler. You can do fairly accurate straight lines working horizontally and vertically, but going from diagonal or any other direction against your body, that's very difficult to keep straight. And also to keep them equally spaced and really nice and straight, the ruler's the way to go. And also just notice that when I reach the feather or the design where you want to stop, I almost take a breath because I want to make sure that I get a really nice tight stitch at that design, and then I come back. I don't want to loop and a long stitch there. to the design and back. You'll notice that eventually I don't press my stop button every time I'm at the end. I have my machine on regulated cruise mode, 12 stitches per inch with a 200 motor speed on the cruise. And you can lower that cruise speed, which means you don't have to press your stop start button when you reach the end. You can let the machine cycle while you move to the next position. So I'm letting it run and I'm pushing my machine with the ruler, and that way I know where I am and I know where I need to be. There we go. Pushing it slowly, lining everything up, carrying on. And eventually you'll fall into a rhythm and you'll get used to the feel and the amount of stitches basically that it takes to travel down for that edge to the next line, and that will help you speed up the process. So initially it will start out slow. You'll do one line at a time. You'll press your stop start button a lot until you fall into the flow and rhythm of the design. Happy quilting!